Hello, my name is Gabriel and welcome to a new episode of Concierge.js. In this episode I have decided to try something different. Instead of starting from the get-go with nothing about what we will develop, just an idea, I have decided to implement beforehand and then talk to you about the changes, show you how it works and show you what I have learned in the process. Hopefully this will make the video less cut and more pleasant to follow. For sure, for me it is easier to talk after the fact about something that I did then beforehand and being hit in the face with all kind of unknowns. So let's hope this is more pleasant. The idea of this one was to centralize into a database versioning model every addition and subtraction to the shape of the database. This is what Alambic is for. Every time we add new rows or new tables or new rules to the database, this Alambic will do a migration between the old version and the new version. As such, it is pretty easy for us to restart from a clean database and just add everything and have everything in order. So we have started with this. And then things got super complicated super fast, because in order to start properly with Alambic, you have to start from a clean database, not from an existing one. Then, after we have started, I had to significantly improve the performance testing, so especially the generators that we had here, because now they connect to the same database as the main project. We don't maintain two separate databases anymore. The performance part is just some tables in the database. And this meant that I had to migrate most of the things to the other database without losing everything. However, some of the scripts that we wrote in the past were neglected, so to speak. They contained SQL syntax that we have developed in the beginning when we were not bothered about the consistency of the project. So I had to migrate them all to SQLite as well. And during this, there were things that broke. So I had to update these as well and maintain these as well. Now the generator part should be up to spec with the rest of the application. Then, after this was fine and done, I wanted to run the population of the database to simulate what would happen if somebody would just pull the project of GitHub, started everything, and start from a clean database. So we should be able to inject users, inject rooms, so on and so forth. In order to bring this up to speed also, I have created this MD file, database population.md, where I have explained a little bit the structure and the commands that should be run in which order and what each command does. And now with this information, it is easy enough for an LLM to just go through and run the commands for you. I have tested this. So if we give this to client or another agent and tell it, hey, this is the file, please populate the database for me together with test data, it will go through those and run them one by one. And things are starting to be reusable by other people. Next, it was the adaptation of the performance testing part, because until now we have seen this part as a side of the project. But after playing with the project together, we can easily conclude that this part will be very tied to the main project, because it is actually impossible to test the performance of the prompts which we develop or which we write without the performance testing part. So not only that the performance testing part had to be brought up to speed with everything else, but it also had to be improved to support the new structure and the new prompts. Because in the beginning we have said that the goal of this project is to be able to create no matter what page just by prompting. So the idea was to have a user interface somewhere where you can define your prompt, improve your prompt with AI, and this is the page that is being created in the end. So it was implemented. How it looks like right now is as such. Under the old prompt management page, to the right hand side, we have some of the available placeholders that we can add to the prompt. Then at the bottom, we have some of the variables that we have to populate with values in case we run this prompt. Then I have figured out that a prompt actually has to be split in multiple sections. We have the intention, where we give some of the information, like, hey, this is you, this is what you have at your disposal, so on and so forth. Then we have the restriction, where we restrict the LLM from what it can do and what it cannot do. Then we have the output structure. This defines how the output of the LLM should look like, because if we remember from our previous tests, every model was inventing a way of structuring the information. Because of this, some were lazier and some were putting in more effort, depending on how they were coded. But with the output structure, things are pretty level. And then we have some extra information, as I call it a template, because in reality this applies to multiple prompts, not just to this one. Maybe I'll come up with a better name, I'm not sure, but for now it is called a template. At the end we have this. We can use the preview render button that is taking our template and it's replacing everything that it can be replaced with the values. For example, okay, I have to be able to make this bigger. For example, here we have database tables, and here we have the actual tables injected. Lower we have guest directory, so the guests of our application, and here we have them injected in the prompt. So this is what the preview rendered will do. It shows to us what the LLM will actually receive in the end. Then I have realized that sometimes we need to add values in the prompt. So these values are calculated beforehand, but we also need to send in values. In order to do that, I have added this button which shows us, the humans, the structure of the database. So for example, let's say we would like to add the special preferences. I can press on insert, and here I have the name. I can take this name, I put it here, and this means that as soon as the prompt is being received by the LLM will try to put something in here. Also, we can see it in practice in another way. Here we have customer name. Okay, if I go to guest search, I have this input field. So this input field that we see here is mapped to the thingy called customer name in our prompt. So this is how we can start injecting and communicating with the prompt to make it dynamic. Then I came to the realization that it is kind of difficult to maintain new versions. So I made sure that this new version button functions, and it always takes the last number and increments it, and there we can add more things and save. And now V8 will be saved with the new information. As soon as we are happy with V8, we can make V8 default instead of V6. What means that V8 is a default. When we are going to guest search, it will select V8 instead of V6. We have used it and we have seen that V8 is worse than the previous ones. We can always delete V8 and we can make V6 the default as we had. Then I figured that it would be useful for a non-technical person to be able to conversate with the AI in order to improve the prompt. So I have created this button, Prove with AI, where I can give it a query. It will take this part of the prompt, it will think about how to solve our query, and it will give us a new version that we can apply. Then we have finally reached the point where we can have more prompts. Until this version, it was just guest search all the time, no other prompt, nothing else. And it was kind of impossible from frontend to create a new prompt. So now I have this button called new prompt. This one has been created. It is selected, although this is a problem to be fixed. And it is at version 1 already. Now, the problem with this one is that you can start writing in it, or you can take some information from an already existing prompt and from an already existing version if things have changed. And you can clone this information inside and replace what you just had. Like this, if you like something from another prompt, you can easily clone into your prompt without having to have 2 tabs open. And then to test this new prompt, for now we just have this guest page where you have your new prompt and you can send information to it. This in the next versions will have to be dynamic, because the users have to be able to create this kind of pages. This is our goal. For now we don't have a page management system, we just have this page to test the concept. So in conclusion, now the project has the prompt management implementation. Our users can create new prompts, can version them, can play with our AI in order to improve the prompts that they have in an easy way. They can clone and share information between prompts, and they are able to inject information in the prompt when they press the button to generate something with the help of runtime variables. So this being said, thank you very much for watching this episode, and see you in the next one.